How you doing today? I hope you are doing great. Hey, this is a quick video just to talk about guests doing good interviews and how to cut people off when they're rambling. So a lot of times we feel as a podcaster these guests that they are here for us and that we want to give them a platform, but the reality is your duty is to your audience. And so if someone's offended, frustrated, or doesn't like how you run your interview, it's your podcast and it's your audience. And so first and foremost, I want to give you permission to be able to not have it be just on the guest, that you can take control of your podcast. And if anything, you should take control of your podcast. Because when your folks are rambling, that you're interviewing, it shows that you don't have a direction for the show. You don't have an idea of the direction that you want the show to go in. There's all sorts of things that it represents. And so you want to make sure that if you're bored, your guests, I'm sorry, your listeners probably are bored too. So if someone's rambling and you feel like, oh my gosh, I wish this person would just stop talking, that's a really big sign that you need one of the strategies we're about to talk about. Also, you want your audience to know what they can expect. You want them to be able to think through and say, okay, yeah, this episode is going to be about half an hour, or it's going to be 25 minutes. You want to be as consistent as you can be with the type of episodes that you do. You can do a series of shorter ones, a series of longer ones, but don't let it be because you didn't pay attention or you didn't have the guts to kind of stand up to someone that's a guest that's rambling over and over and over. You want to be able to make it the kind of show that you want it to be. All right, so here's a couple strategies. So first, we want to talk about when you're prepping. So you're on the call with the person, you're about to start recording. Before you hit record, yeah, you want to build some rapport. You want to talk to that person, see if they have any questions, but you also want to give them an idea of here's about how much time this podcast is going to be. It's a 25 to 30-minute show. You're going to know it's towards the end of the show when I ask this question. It's conversational, and so we're going to go back and forth. Those are all really important things to make sure that your guest knows what to expect, because some guests think, I'm going to just keep talking until you cut me off. And then if you don't cut them off, then they just keep talking. And so let them know kind of here's my vision for the show. I want to do maybe a little backstory, get some good tips on your book or the thing that you're talking about. And then we'll kind of land that plane towards the end of the show. So being able to give some sort of direction to it can be really helpful. So make sure at the beginning that you let them know what you're expecting out of the interview. All right, you're in the interview. It's going. Some structures that you can do within it to just make sure that your person doesn't just ramble on and on and on is to say, I have some questions about, like, actually, I just did this morning. So I have some questions about your group practice. And then I want to go into talking about how your group practice has been during COVID. So then you're kind of framing out, I want you to start here, and then I want you to go here. And so being able to do that is something that's really helpful as a skilled podcaster. Next, you might want to say, ask some questions and to say, here's a couple of the questions I'm going to ask you. Let's go through these. And then another way to ask a question is to say, give me 3 to 5 points or 3 to 5 steps in this area of expertise of yours. So it kind of gives them, okay, here's about 10 minutes. Or you could even say something like, over the next 5 minutes, I'd love to just walk through your framework and to hear what skills and what things you give people. So you're then setting the stage for, I only want you to spend 5 minutes or so on this and give me 5 points or so. Also, if someone's talking and talking and talking, you can say, let me pause you right there. And then you have a comment, you have something that you might like, or you might say, I want you to repeat that. Let's underline that. Let's like kind of mentally say that's highlighted, because I think what you just said is so important. And this is why I think it's important. It's this thing that blah, blah, blah. And then you kind of go off on your own, because you want to make sure that you're not just asking question after question after question. You actually want to be able to engage with this person in the podcast as well. You can also say, I want to pause you right there. Let me dig into that a little bit more. I have some questions about how you did that. And so to say, let me pause you and let's dig in, because you want to kind of go from the macro, the really big questions about society, the world, the topic that you're in, all the way down to the micro. Let me tell you or ask you about these very particular things here. Going from the macro to the micro and back again is something that's a great skill within being a podcaster. Also, if you have someone that's just talking, you can always time out the interview. You can always say, I need to just stop you right here. Hold on. You haven't let me even ask your question, and we are 10 minutes in. Either we can reset or we can just nix the interview. I've had interviews that I've just said, this just isn't working. you haven't let me ask any questions, and I'm not going to even use this episode because it's so long-winded. And I'm saying this because I want you to become a better guest. You're intentionally trying to be a guest on podcasts, and it's just not working. And you deserve that level of feedback. You can always call a timeout. You can always just interrupt them and say, hold on, we're going to have to edit this. You're just talking too much. Now that might offend some guests, but if they're that kind of person that gets offended because you tell them the truth of how bad of an episode it is, they probably weren't going to be a good guest anyway. So those are some tips on how to rein in some of those wild guests you're going to have. Let me know how it goes. I hope you have an awesome day, and thank you so much for letting me into your ears and into your brain. Have a great day. Bye.